3 races, 4 drivers, 1 champion. The Final Four kicks off here from Darlington Raceway for a Crown Jewel Southern 500. Kyle Larson is set to go head-to-head against myself, his teammate of Chase Elliott, as well as my teammate of Christopher Bell in an all-out Joe Gibbs Racing Hendrick Motorsports showdown across the final 3 races of the season for a championship. Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of our NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. The all-new playoff format brought into this season now takes effect with the Final Four not being a 1-race winner-take-all, but now a 3-race finale as we have the new Top Golf colors on our car this weekend. The points have completely reset. Everyone enters the Final Four equal at 4,000 points. Whoever ends the final 3 races with the most points wins the championship. Very straightforward, as it's as well going to be crucial to be picking up stage points for the first time ever in the Final Four. We have a Top Golf paint scheme contest where we are running fan-made paint schemes for the final 3 races of the season, and for the first race I myself and painters of the career mode all collaboratively basically chose the winning schemes, and as well had a little bit of a mini vote on it. And for the first race we are using Oppie's Top Golf paint scheme. You see it on the screen there, that his version that he made, and a shout out to one of the Heat 5 painters of Surex who made this paint scheme or remade it onto a Heat 5 template here for Darlington Southern 500. Now, as it's been one heck of a season of the Final Four drivers, I feel like personally Christopher Bell probably the weak link. He has of course got 2 wins, he's got both of his wins in the playoffs, but he hasn't had the consistency. And looking at statistics, myself, Chase Elliott, and Kyle Larson, we've all been pretty similar as we kick off our qualifying. We'll go over more Final Four driver statistics in the race now. Is bit of a slide on the exit of turn 2 as we went down into 3 and 4, though, getting as close as we can to that white line, and then of course opening up the wheel and throttle on the exit of 4. Actually gonna briefly tag the outside wall, but nonetheless we cross the stripe with a 29.515 P14 for the first race of the Final Four. Where are our competitors is the big question. It looks like they might all be in the top 10. Yes, they are. Kyle Busch on pole with Ty Gibbs, who missed the Final Four by 1 point, to Christopher Bell, who's a top Final Four qualifier in P8. Larson 9th, Elliott 10th. So 8th, 9th, 10th, and 14th for your Final Four qualifiers. I think we would all expect a little bit more. Denny Hamlin, Justin Allgaier, the 2 part-time drivers in the field. Briscoe, P21, your defending Darlington winner. You see the rest of the qualifying order. Xfinity Series had race 1 of their Final Four also at Darlington this weekend, where Ryan Truex, a part of the Final Four, picked up the win. His competitors are Brandon Jones, Taylor Gray, and Justin Allgaier. The Final Four in Xfinity works just like it does in trucks and the new Cup Series format as well. 3 races, Final Four, and the most points of the Final Four at the end of the 3 races is the champion. You see the grid. Ryan Truex 6 points ahead of Brandon Jones, 7 points ahead of Taylor Gray, and 9 points ahead of Justin Allgaier. So very close between the 4 drivers following the first race of the Final Four. What will it look like on the Cup Series side? Let's find out in head track side for the first race of the Final Four in the Cup Series.
It all comes down to this: 3 races, 4 drivers fighting for a championship. All drivers start equal on points as they scrap it out to become champion.
2 drivers looking for their first titles with Bell and Owen. Meanwhile, Elliott looks for his 2nd, and Larson aims for his 3rd championship.
Hey everybody, thank you for the hard work all season long. Final Four for the first time in my career. I don't see why we can't go win a championship in the first attempt, guys. Let's make these final races together count.
It's been a great season, mate. Let's end it on a high.
So then the first of 3 races of the Final Four is set to kick off. Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Christopher Bell, and myself all start even. 4,000 points. Who's going to come out on top now as a green flag is out? The Southern 500 is underway. Kyle Busch and Ty Gibbs lead the way down into turn 1 as we're all going to chase them, as row 2 consists of Ross Chastain and winless on the season William Byron, in the number 24 just won the Daytona 500. In real life, back-to-back 2 seasons in a row. What a Daytona 500 it was. I personally honestly loved the entirety of that race. Now, as I didn't find myself board at any point throughout that race. Now 39 laps here in stage number 1. Kyle Busch leads the way out of turn 4 as he heads down the front straightaway to lead this first and opening lap here. Now Busch won 2 races very early in the season, hasn't been to victory lane since. It's been a bit of a up and down season, as I actually tagged the back of my teammate there as well, Chandler Smith, and then number 18 got a little bit sideways in that Lay's Toyota Camry. He saves it and continues on as we head down this back stretch up the inside of Todd Gilliland. One thing I'm noticing immediately, that 12 of Ryan Blaney lacking speed as we roll through 3 out of turn 4. Ross Chastain now to the lead. He missed the final 4 in heartbreaking fashion. Had a great start to Mid-Ohio in the last episode in the elimination race of that round of 8, and unfortunately an engine failure at the end of stage 1 completely ruined his chances. We will have live stage updates for every single stage of this final 4, so you guys know exactly what's going on with the final 4 drivers, but we are now seeing the product in what it's going to be with this brand new playoff format that NASCAR introduced, where the playoffs all remain the same, but the final 4 is a little bit different, where it's now 3 races instead of 1, and stage points actually count. So Darlington, Martinsville going to be crucial for these first 2 races going into the Charlotte finale, where there will be 4 stages, so an additional stage just like the Coke 600 at the same racetrack earlier in the season. Very excited to see how this plays out early on. Kyle Larson struggling. It's not been a great playoffs for the number 5. He has been so dominant all season. Won the regular season championship. He's been on cruise control to get to this final 4, but it's Christopher Bell currently leading the final 4 drivers over Chase Elliott, both up towards the top 5. Larson 11th, myself in P12. Larson's clear. He'll probably try to jump down. We've had plenty of beef with Kyle Larson in the playoffs, but we've both gotten into the final 4. We're just going to let everything kind of play out and see what happens now, as Larson was starting to move his way forward a little bit as I'm struggling. P12 right now, Logano on my outside. Larson passing the 45, the 60, 67 of Denny Hamlin as well, who won this race last season, his final win of his Cup Series career to date in his final full-time season, as well as I make an aggressive move 3 wide to the inside of Logano and Tyler Reddick now side by side into turn 3, still 3 wide, no one wanting to lift as we come through at a turn 4. Logano backs out. Reddick in that beautiful Mango Loco monster car. Paj whipped that one up, and it looks absolutely stunning on the racetrack as we slide up into the outside wall. Chastain blows the tire into turn 3 from the lead, handing it over to Buescher, and Gibbs will move through in a second as a caution flies. First yellow of the day and first set of pit stops. Elliott in 4th, Bell in 5th, the top 2 of the final 4. Larson to 8th, but immediately problems for Chase Elliott, drops him to 13th. In the pit lane, we gain 3 spots, a great pit stop. Every pit stop matters more than ever, and every stage point matters more than ever, and Chase Elliott is now at risk of losing some. We're back underway, 23 laps to go in stage 1, and that's actually too long for us to go on a field run. We cannot make it to the end of the stage on field. We will have to make an additional pit stop now, be that under green or under caution now, as we drop back down to P11. Briscoe just behind, Elliott on his inside as we dive down into turn 3. Of course, we talk about last season a lot and how that championship ended, and that's what led to the format change. Chase Elliott and Christopher Bell both robbed of fighting each other head-to-head for a championship last season in the season finale, and it went to Ty Gibbs instead. Well, they both make the final 4 one season later and now have a proper fighting chance where they can fight over the course of 3 races, but of course they have to go up against Kyle Larson and they have to go up against myself. We had an incredible round of 8. We finished, I think, top 5 in all the races in the round of 8, which is incredible for us now, and we're looking to carry that momentum here into Darlington. But Darlington is a track that has had very ups and downs throughout my career, to say the least. We have had great races in Darlington, we've had complete disasters here in Darlington, so you never really know what to expect when you come to this track. Now as we move past Denny Hamlin, kind of leaned on him a little bit now, as now Chase Briscoe's going to get up my inside as we exit turn 4. He is showing some speed. He is always so strong when it comes to Darlington. Darlington, a true driver's racetrack, and Chase Briscoe is one of the drivers that always excels here. Now as here comes Ross Chastain, previous leader, blowing that tire. He's still in the race, moving his way back forward, trying to rebound from his issues now, and as I always say, ignore those playoff tags under the driver names, because the game of course uses the original playoff format, not the format that we use. Kyle Larson going backwards, and Elliott would actually jump up to the outside, and he was now going backwards. Larson would be able to get through to the inside and pass the 9, and I'm going to follow through as well. And it's all Christopher Bell on his own right now towards the front of the pack. He's in P2 as Chris Buescher continues to lead the way in that number 17 RFK Ford Mustang, the only driver for RFK that has not won this season, which is a complete shock in my opinion now. And of course, Justin Haley picked up his second win on the season just recently in Talladega now after getting eliminated from the playoffs. We passed Ross Chastain there and back up again the inside of Tyler Reddick. Elliott behind us now on the inside trying to move his way back forward. Larson into 7th and Chastain fighting back on the outside for Trackhouse in that Honda Civic. Now that number 1's got some speed as he goes side by side with Reddick after clearing me. We're back down to P10, struggling for pace early on here in this race. Definitely looking at adjustments coming up at the next pit stop. I didn't really felt like I learned enough on the first run, so I didn't really bother making any adjustments as we tag the wall side by side with Reddick. Elliott goes through a bit of an unsettled car into turn 3. That drops us now to the worst running Final 4 driver, but it's far from over. We continue to fight with Chase Elliott as we head down this back straightaway, approaching the final 10 laps already of stage 1, as now looking to the left rear of Reddick, and love that paint scheme so much, honestly, as we exit turn 4 side by side with the 9. Now smoke coming out in front of, that's the 98 of Chase Briscoe. He goes around in turn 1. Caution is out. Second yellow of the night. Everybody again will make a pit stop. Nobody was able to make it to the end of stage 1. It'll be 4 tires, feel, and a slight adjustment for myself from 49.5 to 49.2 on the wedge, really loosening up the car as we'll get ready for another restart. Blaney down to 24th. He's really struggling for pace early on here in this Southern 500 as we get ready to go green. 4 spots lost for Briscoe only after crashing the car. Now we get ready to go back racing. Less than 10 laps to go in stage 1. Crucial stage points on the line. All Final 4, all 3 races long. As we head down into turn 1, we're going to follow that number 5 Wawa Chevrolet of Kyle Larson. Now he's on the inside of Ross Chastain. Bell restarted second. He's side by side with Busch for P2. And you see as well, Buescher clear trying to run away as we head down in towards turn 3, hoping that 5 car can move forward. Now, not really hoping for the most success out of the 5 with how he's raced us, but definitely trying to follow him forward. But you can see he's pulling away. We're struggling to go forward. We're still side by side with Tyler Reddick as we head down this front stretch in towards turn 1. 7 to go in stage 1. Clear of Tyler Reddick now as we'll cycle through the center of the corner. Chastain up the track. Chastain into the outside wall. We can't react in time. We crash off of the number 1 as we exit turn 2 into the inside wall. Caution is out.
I saw him hit the wall. I just couldn't react in time. I'm so sorry.
We got time here. Bring it to us. Let's fix it.
A very level-headed James Small atop of the pit box now, and you saw Chastain got out of the groove, hit the wall on the exit of turn 2, and I just didn't react in time. And when he hit the wall, obviously the closing rate is significant. I ran right into his left rear quarter panel and I wrecked myself. Simple. So we had to pit and fix the car. We could have stayed out, but we were going to be restarting outside the top 20. We're not going to gain anything, so we're going to just fix the car, take 4 tires, and go back racing. It's going to be 3 laps to go here in the stage. Now, I'm probably not going to stay out at the end of this stage. We could, go right to the front, but tires are such a big deal here in Darlington. You will wear those tires down over 3 laps that we're just going to be starting stage 2 at a disadvantage and at risk of getting off pit strategy at Darlington. You do not want to get off pit strategy. There is such a risk of doing that at a track like Darlington, at least from my previous experience playing this game. So I don't want to do that. So no matter where we end up here at the end of stage 1, we're going to pit again as we're getting a bit aggressive, leaning on the door of Christian Eckes, future driver at RFK. Christopher Bell, starting the final lap, has taken the lead from Chris Buescher in that number 20 as we exit turn 2 behind the 60 of Haley, getting really aggressive, cutting across that apron on the exit of turn 2. That can go very wrong very quickly. We're only up to P31, looking to the right rear of the 52, but it's going to be Christopher Bell, our teammate, winning stage 1. It's going to be Elliott and Larson just inside the top 10. Larson really dropped off at the end of the stage there on that restart now after being on the outside. It's P31 for us and no stage points. Meanwhile, Christopher Bell picks up 10 points, and it's going to be Elliott picking up just 4 and 1 for Kyle Larson. A lot of separation between the final 4 drivers in this opening stage, not what we were seeing on the Xfinity side of things, and yeah, not good for us obviously, and like I already said, every stage matters, every stage point matters so much. Of course, in the traditional Final Four, like real life, it's one race, the stage points don't matter, but now that we have it over 3 races, stage points make the largest difference here. Christopher Bell, I said at the beginning of the episode, he is probably the weak link to the Final Four, and he has certainly taken that personally, coming out and winning stage 1, and looks like he has a car that could win this race as we start here for stage 2. 37 laps of racing. Bell lost the lead in the pits. He was P2, so Buescher returns to the lead after leading the large majority of stage 1. Ty Gibbs now actually going to move through into second on the inside, passing our Joe Gibbs teammate of Christopher Bell. Gibbs, of course, devastated to not be in this Final Four after missing it out by 1 point, entered with a comfortable margin on Christopher Bell into Mid-Ohio for the elimination race, but unfortunately just didn't run well all race long, while Bell had a great result after a rough first 2 races to kick off the round of 8. So it was so close between those two, but Christopher Bell comes out on top and seeks vengeance after last season's heartbreak, just like Chase Elliott. Both of those 2 drivers, watch out for them. Kyle Larson, we talked about it. Kyle Larson won 5 races in the regular season. Absolutely incredible by Kyle Larson. Both myself, Larson, and Chase Elliott, we all have more than 15 top 5s on the season. That's a huge number. Meanwhile, Christopher Bell doesn't even have 10 top 5s, but he has had a lot more success in the playoffs than he has in the regular season. 2 wins on the season. They both came in the playoffs. He just won his 7th stage of the season. Now, as we're continuing to work our way forward back into the top 20, passing Ryan Blaney around the outside, his final few races at Penske before he moves on to 2311, driving the 23 Toyota Camry next season. We now see Christopher Bell has gone back to the lead now as we're passing Sammy Smith for Andretti Global, and now just behind the 97 of Shane Van Gisbergen, who's looking to the inside of my future team, the 7 of Justin Allgaier at Junior Motorsports now as we head down this backstretch following this 97 towards turn number 3. And yeah, just taking our time, being patient, but as well we do have to still be aggressive. We don't know how the stage is going to play out with cautions. It might stay green, we might see green flag pit stops as well, and usually green flag pit stops kick off a little bit earlier than other tracks here at Darlington. You'll see everybody kind of hit about 5, 6, 7 laps of fuel left in the tank instead of waiting for 1 to 2 to 3 laps of fuel in the tank here now. But we're up into the top 15, and I expect to pit around the same time as the AI because I don't want to risk giving up too much time here as we're all over the bank of that Jordan 67 2311 driver of Denny Hamlin now, as we'll follow him actually past Brad Keselowski, who had the potential to be our future boss, but of course we went the different way and chose Junior Motorsports and that Cadillac team. Now as we exit turn 2 down this backstretch following the 67, we'll have a chance to make a move up the inside of Hamlin into turn 3. This would be a move that puts us into P13. Next up would be the 48 of Rajan Carruth in 12th. 11th currently belongs to Tyler Reddick. Bell leads. Elliott is second in the Final 4 running, and Kyle Larson continues to struggle in this first race of the Final 4. And honestly, Kyle Larson's been off all playoff long, won so many races, dominated the regular season, won it by a landslide, and we got to the playoffs and that 5 car just hasn't performed to the level that we expect. But new leader now, Chris Buescher, back out in front in that number 17 as well past his 48 on the exit of turn 2. Up at a B12, only 2 more spots needed to enter the top 10 to try and earn some much needed stage points, especially after the heartbreak there in stage number 1. As we would run down Tyler Reddick with some help from a lap car of Josh Berry in the 16 into turn 3 using the apron there, and we'll get alongside Reddick, but I don't think we'll have the momentum as we exit turn 4. We actually maintain as we exit 4 pretty even, and on the run through 1 and 2 will clear Reddick in that Monster Energy machine up into P11, as I don't expect it to be long now until pit stops kick off as we would roll through 3. There it is, drivers pitting William Byron, Ross Chastain, both into the pits as we exit turn 4. I expect to see a lot more pit this time right here. Look at the whole clump of cars. That is a group that I don't want to deal with, that we're running down quickly, so we're going to pit right now just to avoid that. And actually Kyle Larson's in, and so is Chase Elliott. Kyle Busch on the racetrack in in front of us, or sorry, Elliott stays out. That's Christopher Bell pitting. And the number 20, as we're making a very slight wedge adjustment, going from a 49.2 to a 49.3. It's going to be a 4-tire pit stop in this Top Golf 19 Toyota Camry. And the right sides come off, go on, left sides go on. And it looks like a solid pit stop. We're going to get out in front of Larson, who got held up behind, I believe that was a 2 of Todd Gilliland. So now we gain another spot there as we maintain our performance or our pace here as we roll back through 1 and 2. Now heading down this back straightaway, Ross Chastain's dumped the 54 down the back straightaway. Caution is out. Ross Chastain, well, he took me out earlier as our AI decides to get involved, but he hit the wall, and of course that collected myself earlier in stage 1. And there, I mean, he didn't even attempt to avoid Ty Gibbs and pretty well pulled in behind him. And, well, he dumped him down the back straightaway, and that completely changes everything. Elliott, Blaney, Hill, Haley, they stay on the lead lap, but there's several drivers, including myself, Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, trapped a lap down. A freak event. Completely changes the complexion of this race, and now we find ourselves in a race for the free pass. We're back underway now, and Ty Gibbs is not going at all. The 54 way off the pace after that crash directly in front of Kyle Larson, who can't go. Larson's gonna get caught up, and his race that's not been going great goes way worse as we roll through 1 and 2 now up the inside of Ross Chastain. It's a free pass fight between myself and Christopher Bell, and probably Chastain as well. We dive to the inside, take it 3 wide on the run down into turn 3. Kyle Busch leads the way. Chase Elliott is in a perfect position now to be able to gain points on Christopher Bell as we exit turn number 4 down this front straightaway, side by side with the 60 of Haley, the 20 of Bell, into turn number 1. Austin Hill into the top 10 after that chaos. I cannot believe what in the world just all happened now, and how much harder our race, of course, just became as we would continue in P14. And right now it's Christopher Bell moving his way through traffic in the free pass position. I've got nothing for him, and I'm now getting passed by Ross Chastain with 9 laps to go here in stage 2. Keep in mind we're 1 lap down, so when we hit lap 36, that will be the final lap of stage 2, not lap 37. Busch is trying to run away now as we're passing Ryan Blaney, but Bell is continuing to put cars between himself and Chastain and myself as we continue to just bring it home at this point, realizing, okay, I'm definitely not getting that free pass. So we're just going to simply have to set ourselves up for stage 3, and we're going to be in a head-to-head fight with that guy right there, Ross Chastain, who I'm certainly not impressed with right now, of course, with what happened earlier in the race, and now he takes out my other teammate and completely ruins our race again, alongside not only myself, but Kyle Larson as well, and messes up Joe Gibbs as well, Christopher Bell. So he's really affected just about everybody at Joe Gibbs Racing today outside of Chandler Smith in these final few laps now of stage 2. You can see Chastain continuing to go forward. I get it, Chastain's not having the race he wants. He was leading early. Tire failure changed everything for him, so I'm sure he's not been happy with how this race is going, and maybe just kind of got really upset, and for whatever reason he decides, okay, that 54 is going around. Down the back straightaway, we'll pass the 98 of Briscoe. Rajan Carruth really benefited there. He was running a little bit outside the top 10. He's now up towards the top 5. Actually hit the wall, and that allowed Briscoe to get back past me as we come to the final lap of stage 2. And it's going to be Kyle Busch cruising to a stage 2 victory here. No pressure whatsoever. But Christopher Bell has driven past everybody but Kyle Busch pretty well. So Bell is going to be our free pass as we head down this back straightaway for the final time. What a weird final bit of stage 2, to say the absolute least, as we roll through 3 and 4. Kyle Busch comes through down the front straightaway to win stage 2. It's going to be Elliott in second, picking up 9 points. He will take over the lead of the final 4. It'll be P15 for us, and it's going to be Bell getting the free pass, bringing him back into the mix. Chastain and myself are going to have to fight for the free pass. Kyle Larson is in a very unfortunate position right now, down in 19th place, as everybody, of course, is going to come into the pit lane here, and we will once again get ready to go green here for the start now of the 3rd and final stage. We are really lucky that the final 4 is 3 races, because if it was a 1 race winner take all, things would not be looking very good for us right now, as yeah, we'll come into the pits not really needing any adjustments. I was pretty happy with how the car was driving as we'll get ready to go green. We actually passed Chastain, who had a bad pit stop. He's outside of the top 18. So that really makes life a little bit easier as we get ready to go back racing. We're underway here for the third and final stage. Larson trying to rebound. We start stage 3, 13 points behind. Now, championship leader Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson back by 12, Bell behind by 3 points after Elliott was able to pick up 9 points in stage 2 to now take over the championship lead by 3 points over Christopher Bell. As we head down this back straightaway into turn number 3, it's Kyle Busch, then Chase Briscoe side by side with Elliott for second and third. Rajah Caruth in fourth still after that first win of his Cup Series career. We're to the back and now to the inside of the 17 of Buescher. We know he has a fast car, he just hasn't been able to have that track position. Hoping for a caution as soon as possible. We are the free pass. Tyler Reddick second in line for the free pass. Larson again went backwards on the restart because he has been getting some of the worst luck on these restarts tonight. He's been getting the outside line on the majority of these restarts and he just goes backwards. That 5 car is struggling. We'll pass the 12 of Ryan Blaney. Obviously all of these passes we're making right now do not count for position. It's just to try and put cars between myself and the 45, leaning on the 6 of Keselowski in his final Southern 500 here from Darlington Raceway. We pass the 6. How about Sammy Smith for Andretti Global? He's been using us up a little bit today. We'll look to the inside of that 27 as we exit turn 2. Unfortunately, Reddick is sticking with us, continuing to put on some pressure in that 45 as we dive down into turn 3. Kyle Busch continues to lead over Briscoe, Elliott in third, Caruth, Logano fourth and fifth. As we exit turn 4, Christopher Bell trying to work his way forward as quick as he can, as now Buescher gets to my inside into turn 3, not for position. He knows he can win this race, and there he goes through on us. Now crash, Ryan Blaney in turn 3, just behind us, goes around, heavy hit, and now up and over goes the number 12. Caution will fly, and that is going to put us in the free pass position and as well put Christopher Bell back reconnected with the top 10 cars. We are going to come into the pits because obvious reasons. We of course just had to get sent to the back with the free pass, so we might as well put fuel in the car and 4 tires on the car. Tyler Reddick now in the free pass position. We're back racing here from Darlington, and it's going to be an interesting fuel situation to the end of this race because that caution, well, that leaves us 35 laps to go. We got 23 laps to fuel. The AI are within about 2 to 3 laps of being able to make it on one pit stop. We know no matter what, we can make it on one pit stop. The AI, very surprised they didn't pit because they are flirting with one pit stop, but likely are going to have to make 2 pit stops as I use up the 06 Meyer-Shank driver of Austin Cindric. Not what I wanted to do. We do need to get aggressive and work our way forward, but right now, if it stays green, we might have a huge opportunity to get everybody here and even get up towards maybe a top 5 and maybe even a win, because we're looking at a position where we are for sure only going to have to pit once. The AI might still have to make 2 pit stops depending on if they can make it. They have to make it to lap 106 if they want to be able to one stop this race. They got to make it another 8 laps here, so we'll wait and see what happens. But basically right now we're hoping no caution. We want this to stay green. This would completely change everything and it would be in our benefit. Chase Elliott now out in front, but you got to watch out for that 20 of Christopher Bell. We know he's got speed. He's trying to work his way back forward now after getting the free pass, got the yellow to put himself back up there with the top 10 drivers. Passing Austin Hill for position. That's P11 now, almost into the top 10. What a wild race it's been here in Darlington now. Up the inside of the driver that will drive this car next season in the 19. Alex Bowman for Richard Childress Racing. We would pass then Corey Heim. Get to lap 101. The AI want to make it about 5 more laps as we exit turn 2, passing Chandler Smith. Going for a move on Bubba Wallace as well. A lot of Toyotas back here. Ty Gibbs, ever since that accident, he had a top 5 car. Top 3 car hasn't been able to go anywhere since that crash. Is down in 21st place as I hit the wall through the center of 1 and 2. Not what I wanted to do as we exit turn 2, and then we hit a bump and it shoots us up into the outside wall. Down the back straightaway. Caution's gonna come out for that exact reason, and that is worst case scenario because it puts everybody into now a one stop situation as Elliott leads. Bell is into 6. We are going to pit because we would get absolutely demolished on tires, and of course if we make the stop now I don't think we'll have to pit again. So 4 tires and fuel as we run P11. It has not been the race that we're looking for, to say the least, here in Darlington. We finally have made the Final Four, but the first race, I didn't foresee it being as, well, disastrous as it's been. Josh Berry took the wave around, actually, in that number 16 for Colleague Racing. A bit of a surprise there. We're back underway. Kyle Larson still no free pass for the number 5. He keeps getting the outside for the restarts, and he's on the outside again. We're P13, giving up a few spots, having to repair the car, but we have been... the reason for 2 cautions, of course, one was because we couldn't avoid Chastain, but that one right there was my fault. I made a mistake, and I was, well, the one that basically ruined my own race right there. A chance to be able to pass everybody and maybe win this race now as we dive down into turn 1 side by side with Austin Hill as we roll through the center of the corner. It's Chase Elliott over Kyle Busch. Bell has moved into P3. Watch out for the 20 of Christopher Bell, who, like I said, is taking it personally that I said he's a weak link of the Final Four as we head down the back straightaway in towards turn 3. Tyler Reddick driving very defensive as I actually give a shot to his back bumper. He would then get to the inside of Sammy Smith, but William Byron would get to the inside of myself here as we exit turn 2, and here comes Ty Gibbs as well. Those two had great runs going until that caution came out there. That was a result of Chastain running through the back of the 54, now 17th and 18th for those two. Sammy Smith looking to pass him for P9. We look to the inside. New leader Christopher Bell has taken control over Chase Elliott here in Darlington. We'll pass the 27 into turn 3, coming to just 18 laps of racing to go here from Darlington as we wash up at a turn 4. We get into the outside wall again. Another mistake. Here comes the 27 of Sammy Smith to push us down in towards turn 1. He's going to sail us into turn 1. He drives us straight into the outside wall. Walls himself in the process as well. Through goes Allgaier, and Sammy Smith is going to completely use us up. Nearly wreck himself. Saves it. We continue on in P10. What a disaster it's turning into here in Darlington. And after all of this, it's still not quite as disastrous as the 5 of Kyle Larson. We continue to focus forward. Now that's all we can do. Passing Allgaier, putting ourselves back into P9. Oh my goodness, this has certainly been a frustrating race, to say the least. Now as we head down this front stretch, the final handful of laps here from Darlington, just over 10 to go, and Christopher Bell is running away with potential victory here in the first race of the Final Four round to take a commanding lead in the Final Four as we continue to work our way forward. Now, running down Kozlowski, we know we don't have the speed for the 20, we don't have the speed for the 9, but we know we can still limit the damage here by gaining a few more positions. That's P8, and we know we got Martinsville next episode. Our first career win was at Martinsville Speedway. I'm confident we can go there and run better than all of the guys in the Final Four, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, and Christopher Bell. But it's now more apparent we're going to be more aggressive than ever in Martinsville with the damage that we've done today here in Darlington. I'm looking at Martinsville already as a must-win scenario if we want to fight for a championship in the finale at Charlotte Motor Speedway as we roll through turns 1 and 2. Out of turn 2, using up the apron, sliding on the exit of the corner into the inside wall. We save it. It's a complete disaster.
I'm just the worst driver here. I don't even know why you guys got me in this car at this point.
Calm down, Gary. Focus. We need to limit the damage tonight and move on to Martinsville and win the damn thing.
We only gave up one spot. The car was damaged on the rear end, the right side, of course not handling the greatest, and that just kind of led into a domino effect of me making that mistake soon after that big contact with Sammy Smith. We continue to fight forward, running down Brad Kozlowski, but Ross Chastain following me just behind as well. I am certainly not going to let Ross Chastain get through at this point. Bell continues to lead the way, coming to the final 5 laps. We pass Kozlowski again. That'll put us into P8, trying to race hard to go forward here in these final laps. 4 laps to go. Chastain gets through as well on Kozlowski as we roll through 1 and 2. Kyle Larson just in front. Tyler Reddick as well. Larson down in 18th place as we hit the bump again on the exit of turn 2 and knock the outside wall. And the caution's going to fly. Why is there a caution for that, first of all? And we might have just screwed our teammate of Christopher Bell. Busher in second, Elliott in third. We bring out a third caution here in Darlington. Maybe the worst race of my career at the worst time possible. And surprisingly, Kyle Busch and Joey Logano are going to elect to pit. We're going to gain 2 spots, and it's going to be NASCAR overtime for the first race of the Final Four. Christopher Bell leads, and here we go for 2 laps. We gain 2 spots, and suddenly the worst race of my career we're row 3, P6 for a 2-lap sprint. We've got damage on the car, we've got worn tires. The question is, can I even hold on to this track position? We're back underway with 2 laps to go as we dive down into turn 1. It's Bell leading over Busher. Chase Elliott trying to follow through. In a second, I'm slipping, I'm sliding. The tire wear is heavy, 29% on the right rear. We slide on the exit of turn 2. Contact with Sammy Smith down the back stretch. Now we drop to P7 and now down to P8. And after that self-inflicted incident, we're just back to where we were, which is an 8. So honestly, I guess fair game at that point. It did feel sucky to make that mistake and then gain positions out of it. White flag in the air. Christopher Bell leads the way. Can Chase Elliott bring it home in P2? Of course, the difference between first and second is 5 points. You get 40 points for a race win. You get 35 points for second, and then of course it goes down by 1 point increments per position as we exit turn 2 down to P9. What a drive from Justin Allgaier through 3 and 4. It's Bell and now Chris Buescher back into second over Chase Elliott. Christopher Bell out of turn 4. A statement has been made. He wins the first race of the final 4 and takes over the championship lead over Chase Elliott. We cross the line for P9. Kyle Larson, a disastrous 24th place effort. Unbelievable round starter for this final 4. Christopher Bell, well, he, like I said already, took it personally and took control of this first race and picks up his 3rd win of the season, matching myself, and now putting Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson on top of myself under an immense amount of pressure going into Martinsville in the next episode. I'm sure no one is more frustrated though than Kyle Larson. It was time to step up. It was time to find that form that he had in the regular season and instead looked as bad as he has all season. And every single restart went against Kyle Larson tonight, and that did not help as well. He could never recover after going a lap down. Christopher Bell has a 3-point advantage over Chase Elliott following that race there. It was 3 points in favor of Elliott to start stage 3, and it swings back the other way. And then myself and Larson both have work to do. 22 points behind the championship for myself. 36 points the margin for Kyle Larson. He has to win a race in this final 4 somewhere, and I would imagine Charlotte's going to be the best place to do it, but he's going to have to step up as well in Martinsville because both myself and Larson have to put a big advantage over the 20 and the 9 in Martinsville if we want a chance for a championship at Charlotte in the finale of the final 4. That's going to wrap it up for me. Work needs to be done, and it needs to be done quickly. I'll see you guys next episode. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.